In 451, when the Vartanant War took place, a very important ecumenical meeting was held in Chalcedon. This meeting formulated an important religious resolution: one Christ and two natures. This resolution gave rise to endless disputes between the Byzantine and the Eastern Church. Until then, the Christian world was unified, but after this meeting it was divided to different sects. Because of the many wars that Armenia was subjected to, the people of Armenia did not have a chance to immediately respond to the outcome of the Chalcedon Council. In the beginning of the 6th century, 506, Papkin Votsmeti Catholicus invited the bishops of Georgia and Caucasian Albania to an ecclesiastical meeting at VI-VIII. The meeting rejected the teachings of Chalcedon. From that moment, the Armenian Church stopped following the Byzantine Church and remained faithful to its original doctrines. How does the Armenian Church differ from the rest of the Christian churches? The Armenian Church recognized the first three ecumenical councils, which took place in Nicaea, Constantinople, and Ephesus cities, and rejected the Chalcedon and the councils which followed. The bishops of Armenia did not agree with the definition of the nature of Jesus Christ formulated during the Chalcedon Council. The Greek Orthodox and Roman Catholic churches have the Chalcedon Council's principle concerning the dichotomous nature of Jesus Christ. He is a perfect God and a perfect man in one person. The Council stressed that the two natures were united in the hypothesis of the Word, without confusion, change, division, or separation. Later on in the Sixth Ecumenical Council of Constantinople, in 681, the nature of Christ was defined even further, clarifying that Christ has two natures and consequently two wills and actions, the divine and the human. The Armenian Church believes in one divine face, two complete natures, one balancing the other, and one unified, complete, and harmonized will. The Armenian Church finds that if the existence of Jesus Christ does not encompass his dual natures, divine and human, existing in harmony, and if there is a separate divine and human will, this means that the creation of Jesus Christ was imperfect. Armenia entered the 6th century as a country locked between Byzantium and Persia, whose religious life largely depended on political administrative bodies. In 584, by the efforts of Moses II VI-VIII Catholicus, the third ecclesiastical meeting of VI-VIII was held. The main purpose of this meeting was to resolve chronological issues. The Catholicus accepted the ecclesiastical calendar formulated by Atanas Toronetsi, the Armenian date, the Great Armenian date, beginning 552 July 11th. At the end of the 6th century, as a result of the Persian and Byzantine wars, in 591, Armenia was divided between the two countries, with a larger area being under the Byzantine rule. The Mauric Caesar established a new patriarchal seat, a counterbody to the Divine Catholicate in Byzantine Armenia, in the region Avan, and ordained Hovhannes, Bishop of Gokovit region, Catholicus. This new Catholicate was short-lived, since it was formed to satisfy political objectives. It also ended as political realities changed in 608, when Persia, winning the war against Byzantium, re-established its old boundaries. Although Byzantium failed in establishing Chalcedon Council's principle in Armenia, they succeeded to do so in Georgia. In 604, the Georgians declared a change of faith, which meant the departure from the Armenian Church, and in 608, the Armenian Church severed all ties bounding the Armenian Church to the Georgian. After the collapse of the Persian kingdom in 740s, Armenia became the battlefield of Arab-Byzantine wars. After 2 decades of wars and confusion, Armenia lived a period of stability under the sovereignty of Prince Grigor Mamikonian, 661 to 684, for a quarter of a century. During this period, although Armenia was considered part of the Arabic Caliphate, the internal matters were completely in the hands of the prince. It is not a coincidence that the 7th century was a period of cultural growth and is considered the golden age of Armenian architecture. Many churches and monasteries were built by different Catholicuses. St. Ripsime Church in VI-VIII, 615 to 628, was commissioned by Catholicus Komitas I Arteti. Catholicus Yes built St. Gaiane in VI-VIII. Nerses III Sayetsi built Zvartnots and churches in Devin, Khor Virab, Bakvum. Anastas Akor built St. Jacob Church. The Armenian Prince Grigor Mamikonian built St. Gregory in Achur, St. Zoravar in Yeghvart. Ashot Bakratuni built Amenaperkich in Daryung, and Nerses Gamsarakan, Tallinn Catholicosate Church. Many other churches were also built, as well as schools like the famous Anania Shiraketi School. However, the reality of matters changed in the beginning of the 8th century. In 701, the Arabic army stormed into Armenia and turned Armenia into one of its colonies, with its center being the city Devin. In 702, they arrested Catholicus Sahak III Zorapetsi and imprisoned him in Damascus. This was the beginning of one of the worst pages of history of Armenian people. The Arabs were executing oppressive policies and forcing apostasy on the Armenian people. The Catholicuses were under tremendous pressure, since the city where the Catholicosate was located was now a military center for the Arab Governor-General. During this time period, in different parts of Armenia, various sects of Christianity started to form. The Catholicus Hovhan Otneti led a great struggle against new sects. In 720, this Catholicus held the last ecclesiastical meeting of Devin. This meeting formulated 32 laws regarding lifestyle, marital life, religious ceremonies, and other important issues. Another great contribution of this Catholicus was the formation of the Armenian Church Rule Book.